Danny. Danny, I've got something here for you, right? So not that Hunter, Alex, and Don can't enjoy this as well, but Zuckerberg's a straight up killer, right? Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook fame, Instagram fame. Zuckerberg is I don't know who knows Zuckerberg well, but when somebody decides to write this biography, like they let somebody gets in close, like a Walter Isaacson, like when Steve Jobs had his biography written. I'm going to find it. I'll probably buy that book because it's pretty interesting. But there's a book coming out July 13th, The Ugly Truth, Inside Facebook's Battle for Domination. I don't care about this book, but I was reading it in the paper this morning about the new book, and it got me thinking. Zuckerberg pulled there's 4 great heists in technology, okay? One of them is Instagram. Like Instagram sold for like $1.5 billion, over $1 billion. And that property is worth way more than $1 billion. Zuckerberg went in there, did some voodoo on the founders and like, hey guys, it's all great here. Hoodies and free cappuccinos. And he got them at a low price. And then he did the same thing with WhatsApp. And WhatsApp, you use WhatsApp to talk to your sister in Australia, right?
Yeah, I use it to talk to a couple clients.
WhatsApp is a property that he got completely under market. And Google did this with YouTube. And, they're not letting these things come to, and there's no rules around it, but not letting these properties come to public markets.
Full-blown IPO
is an issue. At least I think it's an issue for me because we represent individual investors, meaning we are the champions of individual investors, looking for them to participate in markets, free and open markets, and looking for them to take part in America's greatest trading companies. And by the way, not riding them all the way down to oblivion, because we'll get into that in a little bit. But as America's fiduciary, Danny, I would think you'd be concerned too, because you want to see these things come public in their growth phase.
Sure.
And we've had this discussion multiple times with SPACs and IPOs, and we've been doing that the last couple of weeks. But I was thinking about that book this morning in the paper, and then that got me to thinking about Peter Thiel and his $5 billion Roth IRA that I'm going to tell you about.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about Peter.
Tax free.
It's a pretty interesting story how it happened. I want to tell you about that. I want Don. Don has had a really great week in markets. I want Don to cover that. Hunter is not as good looking as Alex. I want Alex to cover that. And then I want Alex to tell me why he's better than Hunter.
He's lying.
I'd like Alex to come on and just tell me why.
Me mommy. What's her name?
Oh my gosh, me mommy. Yes.
She would take umbrage with
She's not going to be happy.
She ain't going to stand for that.
Prince Valiant just got knocked off the mountain.
Yeah.
No, but I want to circle back for just a minute. I've got a lot to cover in the show, and I want to circle back here.
Tim, what was the 4th heist? You only named 3.
I only named 3. Oh, Don is
data. Don data.
Give me a second.
It doesn't compute.
Maybe it's only 3. I was doing this in my head. It's
I've got a 4th.
Oh, give me the 4th. Give me the 4th.
Bill Gates buying DOS for basically a pack of gum.
That wasn't the one, but that's a really good one.
Don.
That
brings it home.
No, that was
the early heist.
Yeah.
That was the original.
Bill Gates did something early in Apple's tenure too, Don. That I don't know if you remember it, where he stole something from Apple, like the user interface. Or
he's got a little bit of a shady.
Bill Gates.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Oh, Bill Gates is no. Well, ask his wife. Is no saint.
Prince Valiant.
No Prince Valiant. He's no Hunter. He's no Hunter. Bill Gates is no Hunter, and so and Hunter.
I praise.
Is no Bill Gates.
I don't know how to take that.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm trying to shape it in my head. We're just going to move on with a classic Connecticut School of Broadcasting upstairs transition. So I got to thinking about this whole IPO space. It's got me all fascinated. And Danny, when he gets a chance, tells me, you can't buy all the IPOs. And Danny just takes a massive dump on the whole premise of the idea. that we established about 2 or 3 podcasts ago with one of the more brilliant when you weren't here, of course, one of the most brilliant podcasts we've ever done here on the show, if I can get it to come up, where what if you just bought all the SPACs and IPOs and went through this litany of stocks here. There we go. What if we bought every IPO and every SPAC? Brilliant show, groundbreaking research, conceived that morning with Hunter, but it spurred stock nerds and market lovers to actually take it on. And they're not buying.
They did, and
they're not. But and it's still going. They're not buying every SPAC and IPO. But there's some special ones to me in my heart where Mark from Buffalo, Captain Dan, and a couple others now have joined the fray. Captain Dan. I don't know what Captain Dan does. Like I've got him on a fishing barge or
I think you're thinking of Lieutenant Dan.
That's probably
that's where my mind goes, honestly, too.
Is that Forrest Gump?
Every time.
That's Forrest Tim.
But I think Captain Dan's an engineer. Anyway, Captain Dan, by the way, smokes his cocktails. So he's an aficionado, Captain Dan. Captain Dan takes like a highball drink, right? And he puts it down, and he's got this dome, and he's got some kind of smoking device that goes in and makes a smoked cocktail. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. I don't know how to do that, but that looks pretty good. Anyway, Captain Dan's an engineer, real smart dude, and they keep refining this IPO idea. Whereas they have zero interest in buying every IPO, right? I think they're
smart guys.
I think they're in Danny's camp, where Danny is like, we're not going to buy every IPO. You can't do it. I'm like, well, Danny, you can do it fast. Like, I'm going to keep taking a dump on your idea until you shut up about it. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we'll apply some technical analysis to it.
There you go.
That was not your idea. You just wanted to keep dumping on it. So Mark from Buffalo and Captain Dan last week, they bought, I want to talk to you about, they bought this thing. Oh, you can't see this.
By the way, even if it worked, okay, even if it worked, emotionally, investors wouldn't be able to handle it because they go broke on 98%, 2% go up.
You can't see my screen. Danny is at it.
Oh, there's Alf. I love it. I love it. What's going on over there?
So, by the way, sad news and Alf.
I got alien smarts.
What is this? Did somebody make a homemade Alf? Look at my arrow. That is not right. That ain't Alf.
What the hell is that? That is Alf.
That is not it. No, look at my arrow.
You gotta look close.
You gotta look at this, Danny. Boy, that is not right. So first off, didn't realize there was sad news. The human who played Alf is passed away and left the earth. I didn't know that. But do you know Dan? Who is Alf's dad? Is it Danny?
Huh?
Alf's dad.
Danny and Alf do kind of look like long lost cousins, perhaps, or something.
No, sure. But who was Alf's dad? Who played the dad on the TV show?
Oh,
what was his name?
I don't know.
Was it Dan? No. Can someone do that for me? Anyway, sad story about
Alf's dad.
Yeah, like what was his character's name? Sad story about him. He ended up like doing horrible drugs, sleeping out on the streets, and I think he's gone. He's left the earth too. Little known Alf facts, but I digress. Somebody come back to me with that Alf fact. I would appreciate that very much.
Willie Tanner.
Oh yeah, hey Willie. Ha! That was that
Max
was Alf's
right.
time. Yeah, Max did not end up well on the streets. That's who probably bought every IPO and SPAC out there in the 80s, right?
There you go.
He was just spacking it up, and before you know it, you end up on the streets butt naked, and you don't know where you are, and two years later, you're gone.
Imagine being that guy in the street saying, "I used to be Alf's dad. That was me."
You know, gosh, he could have ridden Alf's dad for the rest of his life, right?
Well,
like he did.
It's just as hard playing Alf because nobody knows who you are. You're behind you're wearing the costume, and so you say, "Oh, I play Alf on TV." Yeah, sure you do.
Yeah,
sure you do.
If a homeless guy came up to me and said, "Hey, I play Alf," I'd be like, "Okay, sure you do, pal. Yeah, whatever you say."
No, I was Alf. Yeah. So, Captain Dan and that sounded like Christopher Walken there for a second. Captain Dan. Yeah, little Christopher Walken there for you. We're making babies. So Captain Dan and Mark from Buffalo, they went through all the IPOs, right? Like for the last couple of years. And what they did was they applied some technical analysis that we talk about on the show all the time. And by the way, the show only is listened to for one reason and one reason only. Two reasons. ALF jokes and because it's actionable. And so Captain Dan and Mark, what they did was they said, well, let's use that 821 cross, 85 cross, which is a trigger we've talked about in videos on the show.
Short-term momentum.
And if you want all those videos, stock nerds and market lovers, all you do is go to revereasset.com. You hit Daily Market Insight, and 5 nights a week, you're going to get actionable information. That's the whole brilliance of what we do here. We take what people pontificate about on TV or in media, and we actually make it actionable. And so
while making it interesting.
Oh yeah, you have to make it interesting. Like someone out there is pissed about the ALF jokes. You know what? You got to get eased into learning, folks. It's like greasing the skids. You either, you put a little lube in, maybe you have a little Budweiser, and now you're ready to learn. You got to ease into it. You just can't go red meat because somebody out there is ticked off at me for 3 minutes of ALF jokes. Too bad. So we take this information and we make it useful. So they took what we talk about in the videos and they put themselves in position to find ALF. And Mark from Buffalo last week cleared 105% on ALF. So I text Mark
on ALF.
On ALF. Yes, he cleared 105% on this guy. And so I said to him, now you'll see ALF is having a day here. Alex,
ticker ALF for those people that didn't
that's it's Alabama Power and Light, I believe. I think I've got that right. Alex texted me, it was ALF, right? Like just on the text machine. I'm like, what the hell is Alex talking about? Oh, ALF. ALF is up 46% today. And I text Mark, hey, you guys in this? And he goes, what do you think we are, miracle workers? No, I took my profits. And look, it's smart because what Mark's doing was trailing up a stop. He's still not in ALF, but what he explains to me and what stock nerds should pay attention to is this. And this is the brilliance of the show. I'd like to community source the show a little bit. You'll notice we never have a guest on the show, stock nerds. We've had one guest. This is episode 353, 354, 355. This is episode 355 of this podcast.
But to be fair, we've had her on 3 times.
Was it 3 times?
Yep.
Oh, so and it was an expert.
Social Security expert.
She had nothing to push and everything to do to help, and so we had her on. We do not put guests on the show because people have an agenda.
So no annuity salesman?
No, nothing like that. Like there's no guest because they're not as interesting as me. That's the whole thing. No,
like Dan squeezed that one in.
Yeah, he did. There's no. We need people. If we just can't have guests. They don't fit into what we're doing here. So,
by the way, before you go on, I literally had a lady call me, our CPA called and said, "Hey, can you talk to this lady?" She actually, grandma, she wanted to invest for her kids' college.
Right.
The guy sold her 3 whole life insurance policies on the children to have her put in $15,000 every year for the next 10 or 15 years.
If you don't understand why that's bad stock nerds, it's because it's commissions. There's a lot of awfulness there. Maybe we'll do that show later this summer because the news is going to be slowing down, and well, we can do that show again. But look at this: the purple line on my chart is a 5
for college.
Is a 5 exponential moving average. The green dotted line is an 8, and so you can see that ALF is respecting the 5, and that's what's known as a trend. So you could, and Mark didn't do this. Buy the 5 is like that's the new rule. So. When I say I like to community source the show, I want to know what stock nerds are doing. I get a bunch of stock nerds that find me on Twitter, email, and they share what they're doing. And I think that makes this really a true community. And someone once asked many moons ago, why do you guys just give all the information away? Well, because when we become your trusted source of, there's no secret. When we become your trusted source of information for fact and truth, goodness and light, you have no problem ever telling your friends about us. You have no problem ever telling your loved ones about us. You will never be embarrassed to say, listen to these fellas.
Sorry.
No, I
was laughing because I was thinking in my head, because we will never try to sell you whole life for college. Sorry.
That's true.
Okay, because the laughter came in, and you'll never be embarrassed. It's like, well, that's not true. Like that's how that came off. That's not true.
Sorry.
No, I'm not going to lie to you. I think it takes about 4 to 6 weeks I do. I think it takes four to not 6 weeks straight of listening, but that's only 4 to 6 episodes of this podcast to kind of get in the groove of what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. But after you're in, you'll never go back to traditional media. You'll never go back to someone saying the valuation of something is really high, and you'll never go back to that world. You'll come back to market realism.
You won't want to go back.
You won't. No. And so ALF. But then I've got this list here. Mark sent me a list and all the stocks that he's endeavored in. Mark's entire portfolio was up 20% for the week. Trading the IPO strategy. Not the way I described it on the first episode.
Not all of them, just a few.
just a few. And they've got this screening process. And the best part about our show is like, I'm not afraid, I find joy in other people's success. I think that's kind of the way the world should be. And so, look, Mark from Buffalo is on Twitter. Literally, it's MFB, right? You can find Mark. You can find Captain Dan. Coach. There's 2 coaches in our lives. Coach from California who now lives in Arizona. A basketball coach. And then there's, I believe, wrestling coach. We have 2 coaches, right? Mm-hmm. If only the coach from TV's coach would call us one day. What is that, Craig T. Nelson? We just need a 3rd coach. If you're a coach out there listening to the show, get a hold of us. Or if you know Craig T. Nelson, that would be fantastic. You remember that show, Coach? With Dauber?
Yeah.
Don, I bet you Don knows all the
That was a good
great show.
Yeah, Don. Whatever
he
happened.
could play Alf's dad if they had a remake.
Oh my gosh, did you see the news on this? Hold on, Danny. Look down here. Funny you should say that. There is reportedly an ALF reboot series in development.
No way.
Ha!
Seriously?
Yeah. Who would joke about that?
Apple TV. I really don't know. I just.
Speaking of Apple TV Plus, best show on television is Ted Lasso. Do you guys get Apple? Did anyone ever seen Ted Lasso?
I would be required to use Apple Plus, and out of 12 subscriptions in my life, that's not one of them.
Oh, Ted Lasso is fantastic.
I hear it's amazing.
So I need this. I need my notebook here. So let's see. Let me show you where. And then I'm going to give stock nerds and marketers. I'm going to give them a resource here. Not just tell them who these people are. I'm going to give them or offer them a resource they can take. Pay. So Verifone, Mark from Buffalo. Look at these lines. I'm going to try and make this a little bigger for you, stock nerds and market lovers. Okay. So look at the pink line's the 21. The purple line comes through the 8 right here, and there's pay. And now, before anybody gets mad at me in listener land talking about hindsight trades, I'm showing you something. Then I'm going to give you something. Okay? So I'm showing you something. There you go. Then I'm going to give it to you.
Actionable
information. Yes. We pride ourselves on giving you bad jokes. Tanny laughing at the absolute. How do you not know where to laugh?
Jokes are bad.
No, my jokes are good. You'll never be embarrassed to talk this. You'll never be embarrassed to take us home to mom, and then you break out in the laughter. Is classic Danny Stewart. Yeah, let's look at SEMR. So same thing here with this IPO, and they're all recent IPOs. And by recent, you can see this one came public just during the month of March. Same setup, right? There's the 21, the pink line, 5 coming through the 8. Let's do 2 more here. Oh, they bought Don Vandenbord. They bought DV, right? So 5 coming through the 8. They got Don Vandenbord.
DV is always a buy.
Can't go wrong buying DV.
And that's
that was a joke with Don.
I feel like you're purposely running defense against my offense.
No, I'm sorry.
I feel
I'm sorry. I'll support you. I'll be the I'll block for you. I'll block for you, Tim.
I'm under center. I'm looking around. I'm calling an audible, and I feel like you just hiked the ball into my nuts. Like every time I stand under center, I feel like you just hiked the ball right into my balls. Like you're just like, oh, he's not looking now. Hike.
Slam.
I feel like that's what's happening.
No. We're all excited.
Oh, how about Danny? Danny Bumble. BMBL. They bought Bumble. And so look at Bumble. And so Bumble. It's the same setup. It's 5 coming through the 8. 5 coming through the 8. I think Mark tried his hand with some options on the Bumble. But the big one that they did, I think like yesterday and today, I want to get this right. DGBI. Is that right? DGBI? No, that's not the ticker. I've got it dyslexic.
What's the name of the company?
I think it's DBGI. I wrote it down dyslexic. It's this one. It's Digital Brands. And so 5 through the 8. and they're just having a grand old time. You're like, Tim, it's only up 2% here, and you're like, Tim, it's a $5 stock. Look, screen it how you want. You want to do $10 and above stocks, or do $20 and above stocks? Great. The purpose here is to have a signal, right? So a couple nights ago, have a pool. Like, so it starts, because that's how great trading starts for me. And I don't want to put words in the mouth, but I'm just going to assume it starts for Alex and Hunter and Don in this regard as well. Where, by the way, if you're listening to this show on mute and you're just watching the video for some reason, and you look to the right and you see, what the hell, like it's out like this, right? Like some kind of thinking man's pose.
He's thoughtful.
It's just ridiculous, right? So
stock tips from Alf.
That's the title of the show.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you, Danny.
You're welcome. All right, my job's done here. I'm gonna go, guys.
I knew.
Finish the show for me.
I know if we workshopped it enough, we'd come up with it. So when you're looking for an idea pool, like, are you going to trade the NASDAQ 100? So are you going to trade the NYSE? Like, when you're looking for an idea pool right now, and I don't know if it's going to stop, if it'll ever stop. Right now, IPOs are working, and you're still in crowd, right, Don?
Yes.
Yeah, and so crowd is the same setup, baby. Is that a better Christopher Walken? I feel like I'm getting a little bit better.
That was better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dial in. Walken,
Not much.
Right? It
but
takes
better.
a minute to you gotta practice a couple times.
Yeah, it just
You can't
comes.
just whip it out.
Really?
Really? Go ahead, fellas.
Yep.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
I got an interesting IPO for you. Check out Vimeo.
Oh, give me 1 second. I'm absolutely will do that.
Good job, Alex. Keep moving.
Yes. So look at crowd.
You
here.
saw what I did there.
Yeah.
So crowd is the same setup. Crowd is a recent IPO. Fine Sport to 21, 5 through the 8 trigger, and there you go. What Vimeo? Give me the ticker.
Crowd is not a
VMEO.
recent IPO.
What's that?
Crowd is not a recent IPO. It's
Within a couple years, within 3 years, right?
Okay, 2 years old. Well, everything else you were showing was out like in the last month or so.
No, I know. Okay. We'll get there. Yeah, we got a signal here in real time.
Yeah.
We got a 5 coming through the 8, pushing above. And so as a stock trader, you at home have to figure out, well, where are you going to get this, right? Like, so for me, and everyone's different. It's all about your comfort level. I want to get somewhere, 5 through the 8, and that might be before the mean. And if you're not familiar with this work, mean 1, 2, and 3. What I'm trying to do is not buy extended. And these things can get extended very quickly. I don't want. I want to buy. I want to buy as price momentum is shifting to the upside, and if it can clear the mean, or even if it's above the mean, I've got a great chance of at least getting to +1 ATR, +2 ATR, and then I'm going to start trailing up.
Tim, what's the low on that red bar on the left on that gap?
The low right here. That is
No, the other one to the left.
Oh, right there.
That low.
That is 52.15. It's probably where it's headed.
Yeah, that's interesting. If it fills that gap, that's a powerful move back.
Yeah, so you need a pool of these ideas, and where can they come from? So, a couple things I'm going to offer out the stock nerd right now. You can just email me, tim@revereasset.com. If you want Alex at revereasset.com. Hunter, same thing, Hunter at Revere Asset. Don at Revere Asset. Ever want to talk strategy, shop, ideas, just reach out. Want to talk to America's fiduciary himself. Like, hey, why did Danny say that the whole life insurance policy for college was a bad idea? Because I guarantee you somebody out in listener land has that product or knows somebody who got sold life insurance as a way to fuel college educations. And let me tell you something, folks. Those people should go to hell, straight to hell. Whoever sold those things to you, they're not even going to get a ticket to the pearly gates. They're just going to go straight to hell. It ain't right. And if you want to know why it ain't right, 855-732-5932. More easily, Dan at revereasset.com. So let me show you a couple resources. One, I put this together, right? It's a Google spreadsheet, okay? It's the last 3 years worth of IPOs. Somehow, oh my gosh, my BioAlta, which I don't know why the formula just changed. But anyway, you can have all 377, I think it's 377, 378 IPOs and SPACs that came public. And you're like, well, Tim, how do you know it's a SPAC? Most of the SPACs on this list say add-on. So that's how
Most of the list, what?
most of the SPACs say the words add-on when it says deal.
So that's
type.
how you're distinguishing SPACs.
Well, that's how. Well, Tim, where did this list come from? How did you acquire this list? Where did you find this magical document? My good friends at Fidelity. So it comes from Fidelity, and so then I just took it, put it in the spreadsheet. Oh, and then the spreadsheet is actually live. So I've got price in there that it's not like a quote machine where it's going to just keep tick by tick by tick by tick. It's Google Finance, folks. So it's free. So they update price, I think, every 20 minutes. But the spreadsheet settings are to continuously update price throughout the day. You can then take that, right? You can then take this and whatever platform you're trading on. And the reason why I'm starting with the Google spreadsheet is because not everybody trades on Thinkorswim, but they have other platforms. And so what you can then do, stock nerds and market lovers, you can come here to scan, okay? And from scan, what you can do is you can upload a watch list. You're like, well, Tim, I don't know how to do that. YouTube's your friend here, my friends. Or you can come here, see watch. I have an IPO watch list here. I can do a couple things. I can edit that. I can edit a watch list, or I can create a watch list, and then I can copy all those symbols in that Google spreadsheet into the Thinkorswim spreadsheet. And then what we can do, stock nerds and market lovers, we can come into add a filter here. So let's add a filter, and it's going to be real simple. We're going to look for a study, and then we're going to look for a moving average cross. And this feels boring to me, but I want to take people through it because I think it's going to save a bunch of time. Moving average crossover, I'm then going to try to move that down if I can. There we go. I'm going to change this to a 5-period exponential. Danny, while I'm doing this, will you tell people why I'm choosing 5 through 8 moving average wise real quick? Will you tell them why?
Because 5. So the 5 exponential moving average is a very short moving average. The 8 is a little bit longer. They're both short-term moving averages. But if the 5 is crossing up with a positive slope slicing through the 8, that means very short-term momentum is overtaking short-term momentum. So that means the probability the next 2 or 3 days, the price is going to move higher, and it makes it a lot easier to hold. It's a good entry point. It's a low-risk entry.
There you go. And so then I'm going to hit the word scan. And so you can see that it took 300 plus ideas. And now the criteria that I selected is the 5 coming through the 8. And then I want to sort these by volume because I don't. And it's not going to let me do it. Oh, there we go. So OSMT. We'll just quickly look at OSMT. We're not going to do all of these. We're going to do one of them. So OSMT, what's going on with OS? Oh, wow. Okay, you can sort by price. You can sort by volume. This is a $3 stock. Who am I to tell you don't trade a $3 stock? But that clearly.
If he won't tell you, I will.
Go ahead. That was perfect as I knocked my. Let's do another one. I feel I should have looked at price before I did that. Oh, Yeti. Oh, Yeti. I like Yeti. YETI. Yeti's look at that. Now that I like. So we'll zoom in. So what's happening here is the 5. Where's the 5? Purple line coming through the 8, coming through the 21. That I like. That's a setup for me. That's Yeti 5 through the 8. And so you can then winnow it down, and now you have a pool of stocks that potentially are actionable. You can do that with any list of stocks. But right now, IPOs are, I don't know why. I don't know if it has anything to do with the Russell rebalancing, but IPOs after just tanking, like SPACs, and Don, what were like a number of those SPACs and IPOs? That's where the Dirty 30 kind of emanated from. Do I have that right?
No, but they were included in it. It's just a matter of whether or not the market is risk on or risk off, and it's risk on right now. And what worked in November and December in January, as far as growth stocks, SPACs, IPOs is working now in growth land. That doesn't mean it won't stop tomorrow, and it doesn't mean that you won't get sector rotation, vicious sector rotation if something happens geopolitically or with the Fed, but they're working. Our portfolios are reflecting that they're working. Our stops aren't getting hit. We just keep moving them up. Momentum is carrying these stocks higher. They're all institutional quality stocks. They all have a minimum of $100 million in daily dollar volume because we need liquidity. And that's the type of market that we're in. This is the type of market we look for to outperform, and that's what's happening.
And to just add a little bit more context to what Don was saying, that just all happened this week, right? Like the last Friday was not a good day for, with all the reballot. Yeah.
No, May 20th was really the switch in the market for when the growth stocks that grossly underperformed from mid-February to the end of April bottomed and all started showing relative strength. And this week has been an exceptionally good week. There have been shakeouts along the way. There always are, but that's what's in favor right now.
So, and who knows?
May 19th was a big gap down. I mean, and we went from the precipice of wondering whether or not the market was going to go significantly lower. If you bring up a chart of the NASDAQ 100, you'll see a big gap down on May 19th, but the gap down in the open was the low of the day.
Oh, give me 1 second. I'll catch up to you here. So here you go, May 19th.
That was a CPI number that came out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can look at last week's I don't know why my chart's doing that. Yeah, there's Don will say May 19th. I see what you're talking about, but
yeah,
two days.
And then the next day we got two tough days last week, but again, sellers came in where they needed to. I'm sorry, buyers
came in, yeah,
at support, so leading stocks happened. There was vicious rotation last week with the out of metals, out of industrials, out of financials,
and so you can
a
spot
lot of that into growth.
You can spot that stuff. I did this last week, but I'll just do it really briefly for anyone who is new to the show. You can spot that when you get up to like Caterpillar didn't even do it. Give me another. You know what? I'm just going to use gold, GLD. That third ATR, you can see gold is riding the rail here. And Don mentioned the metals. You got to be able to trail up your stop because you have to know at any moment when you're looking at a chart like this, that when you're at +2 ATR or +3 ATR, the probabilities of a pullback, and that's what the markets are for me. They're probabilities. They're not sure things. They're not. When people say they're sure things, they're looking back in the lens of hindsight because you don't know how things are going to turn out. So for me, when you start getting up to that third ATR, you really, I mean, you're at such an increased risk of a pullback. You have to understand how not to get trapped. And so there are a bunch of stocks. Is Deere at the third ATR? Deere didn't even get to the third ATR. I think the YMs did at one point.
Well, it did in reverse to the downside, if that's what you were showing.
So here's the YMs. They go up and tag 35,000 on the futures on May 10th, and they haven't been there since. And so maybe they're going to go back up to.
Yeah, but the other thing is one reason, the argument for active management. There was a big rotation in February out of growth stocks into inflation type, commodity type, and now just 10 days ago or so, that whole thing is reversed, and now growth stocks are in favor, and all those commodity stocks are.
I said last week that I thought Bullard, it was a coordinated attack where Bullard came out to enforce what Jay Powell said, but they really talked that back. And
well, what's so funny though is if they're talking about keeping interest rates low and staying low, commodities and gold should rally. Well, they didn't,
which makes me wonder. So here I've got the price of 10-year treasuries, and it's interesting here where the moments in time where 10-year treasuries spike are moments in time where the markets, and you can see the 621 spike there, are moments in time where the market tends to not do so well, except for the reflationary trade, the Caterpillars, the John Deeres, the Golds, all those. And this 10-year treasury broke price-wise to the downside, which means yields went higher. It broke at the beginning of March when the market, when Don was mentioning that markets got incredibly soft for growth, had that gap lower, and now you're just you're just treading water here. And so that to me is super interesting because let's just say that 10-year treasuries keep going lower. That's That's great for this environment, this growth environment that Don, the renaissance for growth that Don is talking about. But then what happens if you catch a bid? And so I don't know. This market is not letting anybody stay very long in the dance. Do you know what I mean? Like the indices aren't faltering, but the groups within
that's what I mean.
The groups within the
group,
indices are having a really tough go of it sometimes. And so right now, everyone who got
and that was one of the takeaways. That was one of the takeaways. One of the process improvements from the lunch and learn.
Oh, hold on. I'll keep talking. Go ahead.
We I mean, I've said it for years. All rotation takes place within the S&P 500. So while growth stocks are underperforming, if you own an S&P 500 index fund, we despise the SPY for one thing, because when they pay their dividend, they hold on to it for 6 weeks before they give it to you. But IVV or VOO are two. But we prefer SSO. It's a 2 times S&P 500, and as long as you're trending above the 50-day and the 21-day, the market is in a very good position. But you want to be in those to smooth out the days when you've got this vicious rotation going on, or the days when you're completely selling off in growth land. It leads to a smoother portfolio, and you can still get 2 times the return of the index as long as the index is acting in a healthy manner. So we always talk about our goal as the people that run people's money is to create a smooth uptrending equity curve, and this is one of the reasons to do it, because as the rotation takes place, you didn't even notice it in the Dow or in the S&P 500. They corrected 5%, while take for example the tech heavy Cathie Wood ETF ARKK corrected 40% in a matter of a couple of weeks. So
I would suspect
big dichotomy.
Very much so. By the way, if you want to get Don's lunch and learn, revereasset.com, daily market insights where you go. And you're going to have to scroll to the June 9th. You know what, Danny? If people subscribe to the podcast and they get the email, can you put Don's lunch and learn? Can you put a link in there for Don's lunch and learn?
Say that one more time.
For the people that subscribe to get the podcast, you know, the email that goes out every weekend?
Right.
Okay. Can you put a link in there for Don's lunch and learn?
Yeah, I can add it on.
Yes,
on the website.
Perfect.
They
Thanks,
sign
Dan.
up. We don't spam them. We don't bother them. When they sign up.
I'm
we'll
saying
see if we can set
for
up
our current subscribers, so they don't have to go back on our website and search for Don's lunch and learn in case they missed it. Can you just paste the link into the body of the email this week?
Oh yes,
There
yes.
you go.
Now me savvy.
I don't know what.
I thought you meant for new subscribers.
I don't know what combination of words I put there, but I got you now. You and I we're communicating.
You guys are great.
Yeah, we go to counseling. For
You
this.
never know what you're going to get.
So,
Mom always said, "Stupid is as stupid does."
that was for you.
I think he's talking about you.
I said it so that you two could battle it out.
So anyway,
we're like the Five Stooges.
Don covered that all in the lunch and learn. But look, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. And so the markets are right now acting, I believe, in a probabilistic nature. Like, I'm really curious. Here's a daily chart of Amazon, and so Amazon's really good. And you could say I'm cherry picking, but if you want this chart set up, stock nerds, here, I always get emailed this question. Pause your video when I'm about to show you. Look under the hood here. This is how you set up those charts, okay? They're Keltner channels. And I use the 21 exponential as the mean. And so Amazon's really good at respecting this. And so you've got some of these, I don't know if this is a Cathie Wood stock, but these stocks hitting their third ATR, and you can see Amazon now coming back. And my thought is what's probably going to happen is the market will get people comfortable in the Cathie Wood type stock technology trade, which is the talk right now, because it's summer, Danny. There's nothing going on. Like I said, Jim, have you not followed politics? Actually, I try not to. I think it doesn't help me with my market analysis at all. And did anyone see the Dave Portnoy thing on Fox News yesterday?
Barstool Sports.
Yeah.
Former owner of Barstool?
No, he still owns it.
The Charles Payne interview.
You want to cover it, Hunter? Because I think it's going to be funnier coming out of Prince Valiant than me. Go ahead, Hunter. What transpired with Dave Portnoy and Charles Payne?
Well, I don't. So the only excerpt that I've seen is where Charles Payne calls Portnoy a little bitch, and I'm assuming it's in relation to him having paper hands with some of the meme stocks.
Right. Now, if you guys don't know who Charles Payne is, and now I am taking this from what I'm about to say about Charles Payne. First off, Charles Payne doesn't listen to this podcast, right? Because
he might.
No,
you never know. You never know.
I'm gonna go no. Charles Payne.
You don't think he wants stock tips from Al?
I think he pumps stock tips. I think
he
so. Charles
tips?
Payne, back in the last decade, maybe the late aughts, used to just pump penny stocks. Allegedly. Let me just throw that out there, right? Allegedly. Grotesque pumping of penny stocks. Allegedly. Okay? From what I read.
Wolf of Wall Street level?
No, not Boiler Room. Just like when he had a website and you would go to it and you're like, why is he talking about like this 3-cent stock?
It's so easy. You can do it too.
Yeah, and what happens is, how it works, stock nerds, is if you're a personality, company XYZ calls you, hey, would you mind talking about this? And that's how a lot of that works. It's not coincidence, right? When you're watching CNBC or Bloomberg, where they're doing sector rotation of some random sector, you're like, why are they talking about this? Well, that segment was brought to you by Sector Spiders, the only way to play the sector ETFs. You know, it's all incestuous, right? And so Charles Payne has a lot of incestuous relationships. Is that a way to say it? Maybe. So
probably a few conflicts you're used to.
Hunter, one more time. What did Charles Payne say to Dave Portnoy?
You just want to hear me say "little bitch" again.
I'm telling me, mommy.
No, me mommy listens all the time. By the way, I like me mommy a ton. I genuinely like me mommy. She messages me, and I enjoy that.
Get ready for some bad ones. When you said I wasn't as attractive as Alex,
Yeah.
I'm sure she's coming out of the wood. It's gonna be the most vulgar, hateful message you've ever received.
Wow!
Can
me mommy cuss?
She
she can,
shadow
not very often.
Yep. I'm getting Hunter. I'm putting Hunter on the spot here on the podcast.
So like yesterday, like this is how slow it is, stockers. Like there's nothing happening right now. And so Charles Payne, because 5 people watch his show, had to do something to generate interest. Like it was really not even warranted. If you just Google the clip, Charles Payne calls Dave Portnoy whatever Hunter said, and see how I did that, Danny?
Thank you. I like that.
Pinning it on. Danny gets offended when I swear, but it's okay if Hunter does. So I'll just put it all on Hunter.
Well, Hunter's cuter.
Well, I'm cuter, so it kind of slides by.
Yeah, people don't even notice it. What did he say? What did that handsome boy just say?
Sweetums.
Sweetums. What did Sweetums just say?
Sweetums doesn't curse.
Yeah. The alter ego of Sweetums. It's like
That's right.
The alter ego. Yeah, the alter ego of Sweetums can curse. It's like when who's the singer that came out? Garth Brooks. He was Garth Brooks, and then like for 3 minutes he was Chris Gaines. What the hell was that? His alter ego? You don't remember that, Danny?
That was a while
I know
ago.
about the alter ego.
He was doing rock or something?
What's that?
What was he? He was playing a different genre, right?
Yeah, it was rock music. Yeah, like he went and hosted Saturday Night Live as Chris Gaines.
That was very obviously.
There was no disguise. I think. Did he just take the hat off? It's ridiculous.
He wore a tank top.
He could have at least painted his face like Kiss, kind of, went incognito.
That'd have been better music. Chris Gaines is way better than Kiss. Everybody knows that.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
Get onto your hat, Stock.
All right, let's get back to stock.
So
I don't think they're making a 2-night documentary on Huey Lewis and the News. Pretty sure it's the hottest band in the world.
that's because Huey Lewis and the News isn't washed up like Kiss. They're now ending Kiss's career. putting a bow on it.
Let's just take a look at the
Oh my
gross
gosh! You
receipts
poked the
from
bear.
the last
He takes the bait. He takes the bait every time. Guys, both of you guys got junior league bands, man. The Rolling Stones are in.
Hold on a
Now
second.
let's move on.
bands.
Let's move on.
1 second.
Well, at least we've got a major league quarterback.
The reason why there's no gross receipts from concert tours is because Huey Lewis lost the ability to sing. You can't hear anymore, Don. Why are you picking on the aggrieved?
Brian Johnson.
Oh, yeah, that is a sad story right there. Yeah. Did they find a replacement singer? Is that what they tried to do?
Using Axl Rose.
What?
Yeah,
AC/DC's using Axl Rose?
they were. I don't know if
They
still,
did.
Like, yeah,
They
to
did.
finish out that
You
tour.
didn't know
Brian
that, Tim?
Johnson's coming
Man.
back.
Okay, can we just pause? You are so not even close to Danny. We're in a studio right now, and lightning's going to strike you. Look at Danny going. Wait a minute, you didn't know that, Scooby Doo?
Actually, I did know that. I did know that.
You didn't know that.
I did know
There
that.
is no way in God's
I did
green
know
earth you
that.
knew that.
I knew that.
Don, what were we talking on the morning call today? Where I said Danny has no idea what we're talking about.
Anything pop culture related, generally speaking, Danny really doesn't have any idea.
No, not a clue. So,
You knew this one.
anyway,
Danny, you
back-
can't-
I'm reading.
say that
I'm,
you knew
I'm,
that.
I'm focusing on higher
That's right.
level
If you knew that, it's
enlightenment.
because
Higher enlightenment.
Sydney told you.
yeah, Sid the kid.
Yeah, Sydney's up on pop culture.
So look, it's so slow right now, and so you just want to. I forget what the hell I was going to make that point about because I know, Danny, you did not know that Axl Rose.
Actually, the only reason, I'll be honest, I'll cop to it. The only reason I saw it is I was flipping through the channels and it was like Entertainment Tonight a while ago or something.
Right.
It was some deal and they brought it up.
That's funny. So anyway, Amazon comes back here. Look, I suspect. Oh, I was getting to a media point that the media's got. By the time the media gets you all warm and fuzzy, that this group of stocks that are working this week is where you want to be. They're going to rotate it on you. And well, how do you stay ahead of that stock? For me, I think you need a factual representation. And you can do it a number of ways. How stretched are they above the 21 exponential moving average is one way. If you have an average measure when a stock is typically going to pull back, I know some people study it that way. For me, I use the ATR charts. How stretched are you above? And look at Amazon. I mean, Amazon it ain't fooling you, man. It goes third ATR, pull back. Third ATR, pull back. Third ATR, pull back. Third ATR, and what's it doing? It's pulling back. And so if the group of stocks you're in right now are at the third ATR, that doesn't mean rush out and sell. No one's telling you to do that.
Just means be ready.
If you want advice, need advice, seek advice, I encourage everybody to call America's Fiduciary. 855-732-5932. And especially if you want to complain. If you do not like the tenor of the show, but you like the information, Danny is our official complaint line. 855-732-5932.
There you go.
There you
baby.
go.
There you go.
Yeah. And so, look, we could continue down this road, but I want to cover something before I get to a little bit more of Don's fantastic week. Hunter's got some great research. Alex does as well. Some group got a hold of Peter Thiel's, is ProPublica, got a hold of Peter Thiel's Roth.
Account. Yep.
Yeah, Roth statements. I don't really know how we can. I don't want to go down that road. What's fascinating though is what he was able to do in it, which what I'm about to talk about, if you're not familiar, stock nerds, actually dovetails on how I started the show with access to the growth stage of companies. I mean, Microsoft, Home Depot, Apple. What if you were able to get Cisco? What if you were able to get these companies in when they took your money, right? You know, like for actual growth, not like DoorDash or Airbnb, which not castigating a negative light on DoorDash and Airbnb. But what if you were able to get the share price of DoorDash when it was $10 a share, valued at $10 or $20 a share? Not what's DoorDash trading at, fellas, right now? Whatever it's trading at, so somebody shout it. Not now.
178.
Yeah.
He's an early investor. He's a seed investor.
Well, they're earlier.
He's one of the earliest.
Yeah, well, and a whole bunch of things. So I think that these SPACs, and I know they've corrected tremendously, and IPOs. This is kind of what led to the origin of what we're doing here with the discussion with Hunter, that fateful morning, which, by the way, is gonna, I think, when this is all said and done, be one of the most important conversations I've had with somebody. It didn't feel like it at the time, but Hunter and I were just bumbling for 10 minutes, and I figured out where to go. And quite frankly, this research that I'm working on in the background of what could, because I do want to run a program like what could you do if you bought every IPO? Could you buy fractional? I want to keep bearing this research out because I think it's going to be fruitful. And maybe not, but I want to find the answer. I just don't want to leave it up to, no, Danny's got just as much chance to be right as I do. And why not try to find other discoveries along the way with the research?
Yes.
Is this sweet? All joking aside, I know Danny is for that. Like, is the sweet spot 2 years? Is the sweet spot 3 years? Is the sweet spot 5 years? You can consider IPOs for 5.
Or is a sweet spot when it's breaking out, crossing the 5 over the 21?
Yeah, and that's all you want to ever do, and you don't want to hold these on. And so anyway, Peter Thiel is one of the most famous investors. And this is not what I'm about to read to you is not my work. Somebody did this work before me to figure out what took place with Peter Thiel, but they did it back in February. Mm-hmm. The ProPublica story just broke this week. Okay. And so ProPublica, if you don't know, you just Google ProPublica, Peter Thiel, $5 billion Roth. And so how can you get $5 billion in a Roth IRA? A Roth IRA limits is $6,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
$6,000 a year. Peter Thiel, if he had invested since he was of legal age to do so in a Roth, and he's 53 right now, would have only merited out $218,000.
Yeah, plus growth.
Right. It's not that much. Like how much? It's not 5 billion growth, right? 218 to 5 billion is it's a chasm. And so, how do you get to that? And the thing here you got to keep in mind is you're with the Roth, which is different than the traditional. The Roth is post-tax dollars. You paid the tax already. The traditional IRA is you pay the tax when you withdraw.
You get a deduction, yeah. So it's ordinary income when you take it out.
Yeah.
Roth is tax-free when you take it out.
Yes, this is a huge deal. So I'm just going to combine
Congress no likey.
William Roth, senator from Delaware, created it. You would think, no, he's not with us anymore. Is William Roth with us anymore? Doesn't matter. I'd like to get his statement on all this, but can someone tell me if Senator William Roth is with us anymore? Because he would be the guest I would have on the show, Danny.
There you go.
I'd have Bill Roth on. So anyway, growing this, think about the IPO strategy we've been talking about, right, Danny, and the SPAC. What if you're able to get some of these in your IPO? Like you just bought one share of Apple and it grew into $300,000 with that one share when it came public. And then you're able to withdraw that money tax-free. It's pretty effing. Oh, I've delegated all the swearing to Hunter. Hunter, can you say effing for me?
Do you really need him to say that?
Your mommy doesn't approve of that one. I'm gonna have to pass.
Fair enough. I'm delegating all the curse words to Hunter now. He's going to sneak them in, and nobody will complain because he, by far, is the cutest. He's the kitten singing on the bar, going, "Hang in there, kitty." So anyway,
he's like one of the Beatles, kind of with the swoop of the hair across
like the sixth Beatle,
100%.
Joe Best.
No,
Best.
100%. You're a Beatle.
He looks like Joe Best.
It's
Pete Best.
Man,
Pete Best.
Man,
Joe Best was a guy I played competitively in tennis when I was in the gym.
Joe Best was the guy that I stood next to with the urinal.
I always get
when I went to my sister-in-law's wedding and they served turkey. The turkey was dry, but we both had a pee, so I stood next to Joe Best, and that's how I knew Joe Best.
Better than the rest.
Pete Best, the fifth Beatle. By the way, Pete Best suffered some he's talked about it, some serious bouts of depression, even though he went on to be Pete Best. He had some, he left the Beatles right before they got big.
Yep.
That
was kicked out, didn't leave.
Yeah, he got kicked out.
Booted.
See you later.
And that's how they got
Zane and got Ringo.
That's it. Yeah. Kicked out. There was a Beach Boy that left on his own because he didn't think it was going. I forget who the fifth Beach Boy was, but there was a Beach Boy who left right before they got like a month before they got big. He didn't see the 5 crossing through the 8, man.
And then he sold DOS to Bill Gates.
Yeah. Like that's this like Xerox had the original GUI interface that Apple used. It was Xerox.
Correct.
Xerox didn't think it was worth anything.
Yep.
Little did they know.
Great movie.
Did you guys hear about that rapper
guy.
Nas? He's invested in Coin and made like $100 million off that and being an early investor.
Nas has that great song, "You Can Hate Me Now."
You guys made me think of early investors, and
yep.
Well, that's what Thiel does, though.
That's what Peter. So back to Peter Thiel. So Peter Thiel here.
See how I did that?
I love you for that. So here we go. Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is a self-made billionaire famous for. I'm just going to read this verbatim because it's fascinating. Famous for co-founding PayPal, Palantir, and Founders Fund. He was also the first outside investor in Facebook, which has led to a net worth reported to be around $5.7 billion. Thiel is 53 years old. Assuming he's been maxing out his Roth since he was 18, the maximum amount he could have contributed is $210,000. So how did he earn more than 23,000% return on this retirement account? First, it's important to understand that when you trade within an IRA, your gains aren't considered to be realized, so you don't have to pay any capital gains taxes. Pause. We're going to come back to this in a second because a lot of this could change with the new tax law. We're going to come back to this in a second. So I'm going to read this again. First, it's important to understand that when you trade within an IRA, your gains aren't considered to be realized, so you don't have to pay any capital gains taxes. This allowed Thiel to move his money around without having to pay 20% to the government. One caveat. In most IRAs, you're only allowed to invest in traditional assets, such as ETFs, mutual funds, and stocks. So Thiel used a self-directed Roth IRA that enabled him to buy shares in PayPal and Facebook with his retirement savings before they went public.
Right. I want to correct that. You can do that with regular IRAs too. It doesn't have to be a Roth. You can do a self-directed alternative custodian.
I want to pause here for a second. I know where I'm at in time and space. I want to pause here for a second, though, and tell you that when your companies give you directed IRAs at your firm, your 401ks, right? You're not allowed
self-directed 401k.
You're not allowed to pick your own stocks. You're only allowed to choose from a basket of mutual funds.
Yes.
When the company limits you, it's because it's to the benefit of the provider of that 401k, the servicing company. They are doing nothing. Listen to me at home. They are doing nothing for your benefit. Right. The people that set up your 401k, if you are limited, you are not self-directed. It is the worst. It's not in your best interest. What they're doing is you are paying the price for the whining and the dining that the company that services your 401k did to the people who are on the 401k committee. The 401k committee got some chocolates, got some. What's the money symbol? Is this the money symbol that who's the quarterback from Texas A&M? Who's that dude?
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. They Johnny Manziel'd the whole thing.
And they also probably are best friends with the mutual funds that are running those, so they get the commission and fees.
Yeah, that's what he's
1,000%. The whole thing is incestuous. Nothing is done in your benefit. Weird because they call it the benefits department. If it was within your personal benefit, you would be able to choose your path. Because people, you are smart, but they treat you like you're dumb, like you're incapable of making your own financial decisions, educating yourself.
And a 401k, by ERISA rules, you could own anything you wanted if they allowed it. Like our 401k, individual stocks, you can even do options.
You can do classic cars.
In our
that's music to my ears.
When you are being limited by the company you work for, it's not to benefit you. It's not to keep you from yourself. It's because somebody had their ass rubbed on the other side by the company. And that ain't right. We'll tack that on another show. Because some of you...
What is his cost basis on PayPal? Wasn't it like a penny?
I don't know. I'm not... Can somebody look at... Somebody can look it up.
See, he got in very
it's
early.
Gotta be...
Yeah, it's
for that much money, it's got to be in the pennies.
well, we're going to get to
his
that.
cost.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one caveat. So we talked about caveats. Okay, the best part is because contributions to a Roth IRA are made. Did I read this? Oh, well, here we go. The best part is because contributions to a Roth IRA are made with post-tax dollars. Thiel doesn't have to pay any taxes on the money he withdraws as long as he waits to 59 and a half. North of $94 million in gains, $0 in taxes.
The 59.5 is only a 10% penalty. That's not income tax, actually. That article's got a lot of stuff wrong. If you have a five-year holding period, if you hold the assets for 5 years from the first penny that went in when you first originally started it, the income is tax-free. If you take it out before 59.5, there's a 10% flat penalty.
If he waits to 59 and a half.
If he waits, then there's none.
That's what I read.
Right. If there's none, well, you said income tax. It's a penalty.
Thiel doesn't have to pay any taxes on the money he withdraws as long as he waits.
He doesn't have to pay any taxes, period.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to pay any taxes, period. It's Roth. He paid tax on the seed,
No,
Don.
Stop, guys. Listen, if you take money out of a Roth before you're 59 and a half, unless there's a couple certain exceptions, there's a 10% penalty.
Right, but
forget it. That's the income tax.
Danny, I don't know what you're not
said taxes. He didn't say penalty.
Yeah,
that's what I was pointing out. The article is using semantics wrong. It's incorrect.
Danny, I don't know what you're not hearing. I said if he waits to 59 and a half, if he waits, he doesn't pay any taxes.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's what I read.
Right.
Does anybody else want to take
under 59 and a half, you wouldn't have to pay any taxes if he held it 5 years. It's a penalty. It's a tax.
You're saying that if it's
semantics.
I'm going to go find a gas oven. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to put my head in there. I'm going to see what happens.
I just want to be accurate.
Holy shit.
Dan, can you just be quiet for about 30 seconds and let me ask him a question? Tim, read that again.
Yeah, I will. Absolutely. The best part is because contributions to a Roth IRA are made with post-tax dollars. Thiel doesn't have to pay any taxes on the money he withdraws as long as he waits until he is 59 and a half.
That's not correct.
That is an incorrect statement.
Taxes on Roth when you reap. It's called paying tax on the seed and not on the harvest. You pay the tax on the money, then you put it into the Roth, and you never have to pay tax on it again.
And
if you hold it for 5 years,
okay, Dan. If you hold it for 5 years, yes.
And
that 59 and a half means nothing. That means nothing. So whoever, that's one of the
gains.
Do
you have to pay taxes on?
No, it's tax free.
No,
it's totally tax free.
Even before 59 and a half.
59 and a half, there's a 10% penalty. That's a penalty. It's not a tax.
So that's the only. Okay, you guys kind of confuse me. Okay.
As long as you hold it 5 years and you're over 59 and a half, you don't pay anything.
I don't know who's going to end up on the chart this week, Zach, but you've got a lot to choose from. I don't know if Don's his head's coming off his neck. I don't know if Danny just railroading everything here. Because
I don't like it when that article's wrong. Don saw it too. It's just incorrect the way they put it. That's all.
But you would have let Don get a word in. Just stop, guys. I'm going to shut this discussion down. I'll continue.
Okay.
I'm just
Peter
reading.
Thiel.
I'm just reading, by the way. So
question number 1: did Peter Thiel break any laws?
No.
That
we're going to get to that. I'm going to unleash you. I'm setting you up here. Okay. Don't come into the cookie jar too early here. I like
cookies.
While you have to be an accredited investor like Thiel to invest in non-public companies, you can also invest in other alternative assets within a self-directed IRA. That's the end. And what I was going to start discussing here is like Don's right. There's no law being broken here. The problem is access. But what this whole new tax law is going to do is try to go after this kind of gain in someone's retirement account.
They don't like it,
because they don't like it. And so the whole point, stock nerds, of this show is action. And it's not to get your emotions fired up. Like, that's what TV does. They get your emotions fired up. They want you to stay through the commercial, so you're on the hook, and they can count you as a user. They can count you in the Nielsen ratings, and that's what they all do. MSNBC, Fox News, CNBC. There's got to be some kind of fear in there to keep you grounded or keep you around. We don't do that here. We also don't do jealousy, where, well, he has it and I don't, so we're gonna talk horrible about Peter Thiel. I don't know Peter Thiel from Adam. Doesn't matter. He didn't break the law.
No, and he's also one of the greatest early private equity seed money investors ever. No
Right.
question about it.
And that's why I like SPACs. And I know SPACs have, there'll come a point where they're bringing everybody and their brother to bear, but it gives people access. Facebook wasn't this great investment all the time. The thing with private equity is you don't see a daily price movement. You don't see what the public thinks about the price of Facebook before it becomes public. And then when Facebook did come public, and Don's covered this ad nauseum in many a class and many a podcast, in 2012 was when they come public, but then they had their moment. Don, what was their moment? Where they reversed
July of 2013.
July of 2013. And then they figured out mobile, and then they have their moment. It's not this smooth journey.
Yeah.
And so if you had the ability to just put a couple shares of Amazon in your IRA and let them grow, we've covered that math. We've done all that. If you want that research, yeah, right, you just come to me. What if you invest in Cisco, Netflix, or Apple, right from the IPO? I can give it all to you. I'll direct you to where to look. And it would have grown tax-free. And you have access to this, and you should have more access to this. But what is right in that article was that you have to be accredited to do the private thing. And SPACs get these companies that need your funds to fuel growth more. They get them out quicker. It's not going to be a smooth journey, but if you do what Mark from Buffalo and Captain Dan, or Don was talking,
Captain Don.
Captain Don, a lot of D's, man. Danny, Don, Dan, you can figure this out, and you can be the beneficiary. I can't look 20 years or 30 years down the road, but when did PayPal even come public? What's the IPO date of PayPal? Can someone look that up for me? But when PayPal.
Well, but also Peter Thiel was one of the earliest, the first, and he's an active. He's not a passive investor. We just buys the stock and hopes it goes up. He helps with the management. He builds out their management team. He takes an active role.
No, you want him on your cap table.
Yeah.
And so, look, but giving
July 2015 for PayPal.
Jesus.
I show February 2002. Did they go private after they initially went public or something?
I'm going by the MarketSmith.
No, I see what you see too. I'm just looking here at this article, but
I've got it right
weird.
here. I got what Don's talking about, I think, in July there. And that's at 39? Opens at 38. It's now trading 289. Well, you could have bought the open of PayPal, right? Okay, great. What if PayPal was a SPAC, and you could have gotten it even lower, just a couple shares? And so all this makes a difference to me. I think it does, because your investing is an accumulation of wealth. A lot of people approach investing as trying to hit that home run, right? Like, it's true. One, two, three, 4 trades can make your entire year. Absolutely true. But all the knowledge you gain throughout your journey in investing is what matters to me. I think that you get a couple shares of Facebook, you get a couple shares of Amazon, you get a couple shares like Apple. Every cycle has them. And allowing them to grow tax-free like this is, I think, a huge, huge advantage. And we need more democratization, not less. And I fear that this tax bill is going to change a lot of that because some people were able to figure out this amazing growth period for a big number of tech and fintech type stocks, and other people didn't have access to it. The answer is to not restrict this other group of people. The answer is to figure out ways to give you access and make the information available to you and help you to participate, not punish people who are already successful.
Right. I would agree with that.
So something to think about as we move on through the summer season. Okay, Don, let me do this. I'm going to come to you last. Let's go Hunter Research. Give me what you got, brother.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna touch on a few things that I covered at the very end of last video, and then one big gap up on earnings today. But first, can you pull up TAN for me? This is the solar ETF.
Oh, TAN. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Once again, one of the strongest industry groups out of the 197 that are in MarketSmith, which has been a recurring theme over the last couple of weeks. There's been a few days in there where it's been at the top of the leaderboard in volume and in price. Today, not as much volume, but the price is still pretty strong. But TAN poking its head above the 200-day moving average here for the first time since the end of April when it broke it there, start of May. So it stuck its head above it. It's come down lower. But one of the strongest names in this group is Enphase, ENPH. Has been on a really nice run, actually kind of riding that third ATR there, Tim. Mm-hmm. And another, I guess this was I think it was yesterday. There was an announcement that the U.S. was going to block some imports from China regarding solar equipment. And that really boosted First Solar, FSLR, who ended up closing pretty poorly, but they followed that up today, being pretty strong and pushing through the high of yesterday as well. So just a few of the leading solar names there that have volume and have made strong moves. Another area that's been kind of beat up and forgotten about is marijuana. Will you pull up MSOS for me?
I like how you said marijuana. Say it again for me.
Marijuana.
The way you said
that was my Italian version of marijuana.
You did kind of have like when you initially said it before I asked you to repeat it. It had a little flair to it, like Hunter has been standing in front of the mirror going marijuana, marijuana. Like he's been practicing how to say it. Funny. Oh my gosh! Can you do it one more?
I don't know if I can follow up with the same amount of enthusiasm.
I feel like
one time only thing.
I feel like he was practicing.
Zach, you got to record that. You got to record that and get it on loop at the beginning of the show. Just like
exactly.
him saying Don's right. We need to put that on the loop.
Marijuana. Maybe who was from Fantasy Island?
Pablo.
What was the actor's name? Ricardo
Montalban.
Yes.
Montalban.
With Corinthian leather.
In this Cordoba.
That's how you said marijuana, Hunter. That was fantastic.
And then it was tattooed. The plane.
Tattoo's not with us anymore.
No.
Tattoo's not. No. I don't think either of them are with us anymore. When they used to have the Fantasy Island Love Boat crossovers, it was like the Globetrotters going on Scooby-Doo. Just fantastic. Go ahead, Hunter.
All I was going to say is there was there was some positive legislation / announcement that came out regarding more accommodative banking policies for these weed companies in America, which seemed to give them a little bit of a boost. And MSOS had 2 above average volume days in a row with some pretty strong price action. They did run right back up into declining 50-day moving average. But I do want to point out they are down just a little bit today on lighter volume. So just something to pay attention to if it can push through the 50-day. It has not been able to do that the last 2 times that it tried. It's reversed lower both of those times. So just watching to see if maybe there's a change in character and more volume comes in and it can push higher. And some of the top holdings of this ETF are also seeing some big volume and pushing past some key moving averages as well. So just an area to watch. And then the big gap up today is Nike, NKE, but that's not necessarily what I want to talk about because they're a lot stronger stocks in the same space that are also benefiting from Nike's earnings report as well. So Hibbets, for example, HIBB, I believe it was up about 10% earlier today. I'm checking now, still up 10%, getting back above the 21 and the 50 there. You've also got names like ASO, Academy Sports and Outdoors, very strong. Dick's, DKS, also very strong. And last, not necessarily a sports or outdoor or clothing, or it is clothing, but not in the same capacity that the previous four are. American Eagle Outfitters, AEO, had a really strong reclaim of their moving averages as well. So just something I noticed, there's some strength in these retail clothing, shoes type names, and especially the ones that like Academy and Dick's, where it's not just clothing, it's everything else too, grills, fishing rods, ammo, that kind of thing.
Tell you what, smokers.
But that's it, man.
Big time grill sales at Academy, big time. Like that's not. I'm not being facetious one bit. There are in the price range from about 200 to 600. They
do have a good grill selection. I'll give you that.
A lot of pellet grillers, which are really, really popular. Pellet smokers are super popular at Academy. Let's go to Alex. Alex, what do you have, sir?
I have a couple stocks. One of them is an oil, Fang. I think it's the leader. We do own that in-house. We bought it a little bit lower than it is here at this price at 95. It is tagging along at these 52-week highs. This is probably, I'd say, the strongest name based on its price action in the oil sector. We'll continue to monitor that closely. The other stock is PayPal. The payment services have come back pretty strong, including Square. The other one is Four, Four. That's tagging along that century mark.
That is an IPO.
But I'd say PayPal is probably the way to go, just based on the liquidity and the fundamentals. It has the greatest EPS and sales growth.
Have you been talking to Peter Thiel?
Yeah, exactly, right? It's just a coincidence.
And Alex are very
the other stock I'm not going to give. You have to go to our YouTube channel and like, share, and subscribe to find out what the other software stock that I was going to go over.
There is radio brilliance.
You can find out what I was going to go over.
Hey, get your gold star. Hold on. That was awesome.
Well done.
We're going to hang that on.
Go to our YouTube, find out, subscribe, and there was a bonus video we put out last night with a couple sweet stocks.
Why don't we do that?
That was a teaching moment for Tim right there, Alex. You showed Tim how to do it.
Yeah.
Well, he went to the West Coast version of the Connecticut School Broadcast. Why don't we do this?
Tempe, Arizona,
for the foreseeable future. Let's produce the show on the air. Alex,
like we always do.
Yeah. Why make it any different this week? Why don't we do twice a week? Alex puts a video up there. Some secret squirrel sauce type stock. That's
some what type stock?
Secret squirrel type stock.
I heard squirrel sauce.
Yeah. Well,
I just want to make sure I heard him right. That's
couple golden nuggets. How about that?
Never had squirrel sauce, but
you can grind it.
Oh man, come on, Hunter. I thought you from Alabama.
I've had squirrel. I'm from Alabama. I've had squirrel only once.
That is so devolves quickly.
I bet Dan doesn't know who Secret Squirrel is.
No, he doesn't. That's okay. I'll tell you what. Let's do. I'm trying to think. Do we want them? Instead of just making it random, which was my first thought, so they have to check in to our YouTube.
They get notified if they like.
No, I tell you what. There's a way. If you subscribe to the channel, there's a bell on the mobile app, and what you can do is hit the bell, and when we post something there, you'll get a little alert. On your
that's
phone.
what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Alex, can you post a video there Tuesdays and Thursdays or Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
Yeah.
You pick the 2 days. But we'll do it on
definitely Thursday.
Really, it depends on. Wait, hang on a second. I'm just thinking out loud here because we're producing live on air. It's really when the stock kind of prevents itself presents itself, when it's actionable.
Alex,
So you really
Alex
don't-
has unlimited. There's 5,200 stocks. There's always a stock presenting itself. Alex. Well, we gotta
Just
wait.
come
till
back
one-
to me when we hit a correction or a bear market. I'm gonna be like, I don't have anything, guys.
Well, that he can offer that. He can go, look, this
Cash.
is yeah. There's always a teachable moment in the markets, and so why
That's
don't
true.
we find some fancy title other than Alex's Secret Squirrel stock, and although it's catchy, and we make Alex a YouTube exclusive.
Oh,
I think we should do that. I think that making Alex Alex is a destination on YouTube.
man, I'm better looking than Hunter, and I get that today. I must have done something right.
You got a gold star. That you
Today,
really get
today's
it.
my day.
Why?
I think Tim's a little sweet on Alex.
No, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm pro winning.
Stop being on
Now,
defense, Dan.
now it's starting to come out. Okay.
I'm pro winning,
I'm pro winning. There you go.
and I'm thinking that as much as
Or
we'd like
something.
people to come to the website,
Right.
I think that I really want them to go to
You're right.
the YouTube channel, and I think that if
I like
Alex
that.
had a mystery stock theater I'm thinking he has to, because if people are thinking in terms of a trading week, my first thought is does he post it Sunday night? Does he post it Monday? Like, when does Alex post the mystery stock? And my thought here is,
Well, I do most of my homework on Sundays, so that makes sense.
I think a Sunday night and a Wednesday night works if he's willing to do that. But that
beginning week, and then maybe.
But then he locks it.
Are there any other major corporate decisions we want to go over while we're live on the air?
All right, rolling on, guys.
Well, what is that? Was 4 your other stock? Was that it?
Yeah, it was PayPal, Fang, and then the
Hold
other
on.
one you have to go to our
What are you
YouTube
ordering
channel.
a sandwich in Philly? It was PayPal, it was Fang, and I got that with Wiz.
And I'm gonna order some marijuana.
There you go. All right.
By the way, his bonus thing that he posted on YouTube last night actually was
what's the title of it?
2 bonus stocks. It's
Literally,
real
that's
easy.
the title.
2 bonus stocks, 1 IPO, recent IPO, and 1 forming a potential cup and handle.
Well, then we should just
So
call
it's
it
a methodology,
bonus
too.
stocks with Alex. I think that's bonus stocks with Alex.
Alex the Greek man.
We'll worry about that later. We'll worry
Yeah,
about
But
that.
I want him to do it this weekend or early next
Oh,
week. I
I'll
want
get
him to
him
be
to do it this
thinking.
Absolutely.
I don't want him to work on the weekends. That's not my intent.
That's okay.
Don, let's go. What you got?
21 over 21 list, batting 1,000 for the week. Every stock that was on last week can stay on this week, but whether or not there are some that are more present a better risk to reward, you'll have to tune in to find that out on Friday night's video when the 21 over 21 gets updated. And there are also quite a few stocks from the Dirty 30 list that are getting within closer to actionable buy points, and quite a few of them becoming leaders. We know a lot of them don't come back from prior growth trends. For example, QS continues to be the whipping boy, still down 80% from its high. Some of these stocks just will just be a footnote in history. Anyway,
what does QuantumScape do? Because that sucks if you work at QuantumScape. Like, we look at these without thinking
lithium
about
metal batteries. It's a huge. It's one of the hottest, and that talks to the speculation that was in the market at the end of last year.
And the stock
they do have a partnership with Volvo, but
and the stock price has
Well, it's
nothing to do with
Volkswagen, I believe.
Volkswagen, right? Not Volvo. Right.
But they have nothing to.
This is.
God, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say they're down 80%, but yet they still have a market cap of $12 billion. And they have zero revenue.
Oh, that's a problem.
Kind of crazy.
You need some revenue, but it's demoralizing. If you work at this company, you've got options. You got stock options. You got warrants. That's the whole reward of joining the company that is burgeoning technology, that's new, that's coming to bear, and
that's the flip side of the private equity IPO.
Yeah, that's the absolute flip side. Yeah, and so
that was a SPAC too.
Yep, the SPAC-a-roo.
Yep.
SPAC. Was that it, Don? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. I got one last thing. But Danny, would you do the traditional exit, and then I'll give you one last thing, and I'm going to talk about VIX.
Absolutely. Folks, listen, if you like what you heard, please tell a friend, tell a neighbor. Just send them to revereasset.com. They can sign up for our daily market insight.
I'm going to stall for you. Do you need a cough? That's what a buddy does. That's what a partner does.
Thank you. Daily market insight video. There's a subscribe button right on our website, and we won't spam you. We won't hassle you. It's up to you to reach out to us if you want any of our free research, or if you want a complimentary portfolio review. There's also, and we're revamping our website. Our new website will be out pretty soon, so it'll only be one button. But right now, if you hit the webinars, that's for Don's Lunch and Learns. There's two different signups, but we're combining those together. But if you've got any questions or comments, you can just go email any of us, Dan at revereasset.com, Tim at Revere Asset, Don at Revere Asset, or Hunter or Alex at Revere Asset. And you could also always call us old school at 855-REAL-WEALTH.
I'll add one thing.
Now you said pretty soon on the website. That's what is pretty soon in the?
Let's temper pretty soon.
I thought we were producing live on the air.
We'll keep people updated. We'll keep people updated.
But it's a couple months away, right?
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah, pretty soon is not
probably a month and a half.
If pretty soon is a couple months, then
probably a month and a half.
Yeah. Also, if you're at home and you want to argue with someone over semantics, 855-732-5932. Danny is
or Don at revereasset.com.
Danny is here for you. Look, I think somebody would take you up on that, by the way. I think they just want to call you to harass you. Look, I'm going to show you something. Okay? It hasn't happened since the last time I was in Pennsylvania, which was in the summer. The last time I was in the summertime up in Pennsylvania, doing the videos from my mom's basement, which is the absolute God's truth, because that is where the internet is quickest. And I'm going to show you this on the VIX chart. It doesn't mean the VIX is about to race higher. Doesn't mean that the market's going to fall apart. It's just something that I've used over time immemorial. And when I see it, I note it, and it's there in my ether. So it's this. So see how VIX spikes up here? This is last week, Monday and Tuesday, or Thursday and Friday, right? And then VIX price comes down under this Bollinger Band. So on the VIX chart, this daily chart of the VIX, the candles here are just the S&P 500. I use just standard Bollinger Bands to measure because I don't find the VIX helpful to me at all. I've been asked this a number of times, Tim, why don't you talk about VIX price? Because I don't know what is a high price for the VIX. I don't know what a low price is for the VIX. I could give you some historics. I could tell you what I think. None of it matters. I need to measure, right? And so I use Bollinger Bands to measure. And I know that when I get like 3 or 4 instances of the price bars of the VIX touching the upper Bollinger Band, typically when used with, say, the put-call ratio, I can take all that information and surmise we're probably getting near at least a short-term bottom, okay? And you can see here VIX comes down and S&Ps come up. That's back in March. And you can see here VIX comes down and let's see, S&Ps go up, but it's just momentary, and then VIX goes spiking, VIX comes down, S&Ps go up. But you notice it's like 3 or 4 days around the upper Bollinger Band. So we only had a couple days here. But it's this right here, this day right here, that was just yesterday where we dipped outside the Bollinger Band substantially, not just by like a teeny little bit, but outside the Bollinger Band substantially. That rarely happens to the downside. Like you rarely see price get below the Bollinger Band and then it closed up at its high. I've seen that used so many times as like the hook, where that happens and then a couple of days later the VIX starts to spike. I don't know if it's going to happen, but the market's great here. The market's great here. Don't misunderstand me.
But it's something to monitor. If it starts to spike,
But it's algorithms. Like if we pretend that the market is controlled by traders, and the market does that. There's a reason, mutual funds, pension funds, hedge funds, they throw their money around. And they do. That's the volume, right? You get above the 50 moving average for volume, and it starts to cause breakouts, a whole bunch of other good stuff. The other component to that, though, is the manipulation that takes place by algorithmic trading. And when algorithmic trading works in your favor, whatever your favor is, up or down, you love it. You are so grateful for the algorithms, right? Because they come in and they run. They put so much volume into the market that it drives price in the direction they want it to go. It doesn't matter that the economy's heating up, that everything is great, that we had the lowest continuing claims and unemployment on Thursday, not the big unemployment number, but, continuing claims for filing for unemployment. Lowest number since the pandemic began. If you start getting up to this upper Bollinger Band, the algorithms kick in. And that it's just like selling begets selling. How deep it is a whole nother story. But I've seen it happen enough times that within a couple of days of this dip below the Bollinger Band, the dip below the Bollinger Band on the VIX does not happen that often. It just doesn't. And so when I see it, I note it, and I thought I would share it. I haven't been able to share it with people it's been a year at least, I think, that I've ever had an opportunity to talk about it. So I'm going to share it here. I'm going to tell you that I don't know if I don't think the market's going to fall apart. The market's great here. But just because what happens is you get to the upper Bollinger Band and selling comes into the market just like it did last week. And you go, well, that's options expiration. Just like it did here. It's oftentimes just all algorithms. So with that, I hope it helps. And we'll see you next week on Your Money.